Why would they cancel this deployment?
Well, that's a really good question, Ash. And all we know is that this was very sudden. We know that some of the members of this unit were already packing up and ready to go to Poland. And not only that, but their gear. We're talking maybe about 100 tanks, about 100 Bradley fighting vehicles were already in Europe. So what they were going to arrive and fall into that equipment and replace another unit that is headed back to the United States. But no real reason has been given as to why this has happened. And it's a question that we've been asking, trying to figure out whether this might be related to a previously announced drawdown of about 5,000 U.S. troops from Germany. And as we learned about a few weeks ago, that was prompted by some negative comments that the Trump administration had heard from German Chancellor Merz.
Yeah, Louis, we haven't heard a reason. You just mentioned it. But has the Pentagon said anything about doing this?
Well, actually, we hadn't really heard anything formal from the Pentagon or the White House, for that matter, up until late yesterday. And then we finally got an explanation that they said that this was something that had been planned. It was part of a multi-layered option that is taking place. And in effect said that they called out reporting that this was a last-minute kind of a thing. But yet we know from our reporting that definitely this was something that was done very last minute, given that we know that troops were notified just early this week that they were no longer going. And a lot of questions from officials over in Europe on the U.S. side about what happens next, because I think they're asking the same questions that we are.
Yeah, Louis, we're also seeing a lot of searches where people are looking up just how many soldiers or U.S. troops are already in Poland. What is American presence out like there?
Yeah, so we should start with the U.S. military presence inside of Europe. It's about 80,000 personnel, about 38,000 within Germany alone. But 10,000 have been stationed inside of Poland now since Russia's invasion of Ukraine back in 2022. Additional forces were sent to Ukraine to counter the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And so we saw tens of thousands of additional troops head in there to what's called NATO's eastern flank. So about 10,000 there right now. And if we see this reduction of 40,000, that's going to bring it down even further. But let's remember that an additional unit, the unit that was supposed to be drawn down, also is going to be drawn down. And so therefore, it's not going to be replaced. So in effect, the amount of troops that are in Poland is going to be cut in half.
Yeah, Louis, break it down from a geopolitical perspective, because we're seeing a ton of searches where people are asking why Poland is significant. They're wondering what countries are actually bordering Poland.
No, that's a great question, Ashin, because we're talking about NATO's eastern flank. We know that France, we know that the UK, we know that Germany are part of NATO, but they're on the western side. The eastern flank are those countries that border Ukraine. And when Russia invaded Ukraine back in 2022, there was a concern that the conflict might spread beyond the borders. And so that's why U.S. troops were sent to reinforce and to protect America's partners in the NATO alliance. And so those countries received additional troops. So even though they're based in Poland, what they do is that they rotate into additional countries, sometimes like the Baltic countries, like Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, also into Romania, and sometimes even to Hungary. So it's not just localized inside of Poland, but all along that northern flank. And what we've seen now over the last year and a half is a reduction in what they call 2 brigades. That's about 7,000, 8,000 troops, American troops that had previously been there, now being brought home. The U.S. is still going to retain a sizable presence in Europe, but now we're seeing that the focus of the Trump administration is to have partner nations pick up the slack within NATO, and so it's not just U.S. force driven.